like, if we can get points here, that is basically bonus for us because we don't need them.
Yeah, we're gonna beat Broder.
As in a confident yes, or as in a confident I'm gonna sound confident towards the audience.
No, Viaduct will be probably their map in the end of the day. We've played them on it at the start of the season. They played it a lot more than us, and they're quite good on it. But I want to win Badlands against Broder, and I won't be happy if we don't.
Okay.
Because I think as a team we've come on so far this week, and we've just begun at the end of the day. It's not going to be the same kind of nonsense we've had all season. So I'm looking to 6-0 every game from now on. Apart from Broder, I'll accept losing a map. If we lose 2, as long as it's a good game, I'll be happy. But I really think we should take a map from Broder if we keep improving as we are at the moment.
Then, looking into the future, say you pick up a map of Broder. The chances are very big that you're going to meet Broder in the playoffs if you do exactly what you do. Is that something you've already, like, this week have been thinking about? Like, hey, wait a second, if we get the results that we should get the next 3 weeks, we're going to meet Broder again. I think we can do this. Is that something that's been playing in your head?
Ultimately, I think in the playoffs, it'll be the same situation I seem to always find myself in lately, which is going in as the low seed. And against a team like Broder, I feel like having the low seed would always rule it out for me. I think map picks against a team like Broder, they're so specific in the way they play. And I feel like on some maps we have the assets to outplay them if we really bring our A game, but on other maps, their assets are just too strong. And at this stage of our team, I wouldn't expect to win. But for me, Badlands is a map that I really think we should be able to do something on. So be aiming to win there. And in the playoffs, don't know. We'll just let's have a wait and see what maps they pick. If we get that far, which I fully expect to.
Well, that sounds great. Obviously, those games are going to happen. Do you know which week it is that you play against Broder? Is it?
It's supposed to be next week. It's supposed to be next week, but they have some problems of their own at the moment. They have like people away, and we told them we're happy to let the wildcard go through and play in catch-up week. So I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Okay. Well, we're obviously going to be looking forward to that one, as that game might be completely crucial. It seems like all the crucial games are going to happen in the last 3 weeks, ladies and gentlemen, so obviously stay tuned to that. Kaidus, thanks for coming on, so straight after the game. And obviously, take care is probably the best thing I can say to you guys. If you guys have been playing all week very, very good, obviously, if you keep going on to that trend tomorrow, obviously Thursday, then I think you guys should be perfectly fine for the rest of the season. So thanks for coming on. James, is there anything you would like to ask?
Yeah, I'm just interested, like Kiris is talking about they've had a bit of a breakthrough this week. Like, what in particular is it that they've gone off their chests or worked out this week that's going to change their fortunes this season?
Well, basically for this season, we started off well at the beginning of the season. We were just like, a little bit behind the top teams, kind of where we left off last season, but just with a different roster, just slightly behind Broder and CC, like comfortably 4th, but still in arm's reach. But then as the season went on, I kind of blame myself at the end of the day because we were slightly behind these teams, but it seemed like all we had PCW is CC and Broder, and whilst at the start we'd give them good games, we would always lose. And then as the season went on, we're just like losing every game, every PCW, maybe getting a tie once a night, losing 3 maps, getting a tie on the other one. And after a while that takes its toll. And then after a while it really took its toll, and we basically just said, screw this, let's just call fun for the rest of the season and just forget about it. But then basically we weren't even having fun doing that, so we basically sat down together and just said, right, let's do this properly or not do it at all. Let's play this week to the best of our abilities again, which is something we hadn't done for a long time. We'd just been goofing around. We got some really promising results and some really promising play more than anything. It felt like a Prem team again to me, whereas before it felt like every now and then someone would go clutch and win a fight for us. Whereas now it feels like we're earning the fights that we win, which is, I think, a good basis to build on. That's what makes me so confident for the future at the end of the day. So I guess basically to TLDR it, we just had a meeting basically. We all talked, we all expressed our feelings very intimately, and here we are.
Yeah, I actually saw some decent engagements for you there, like particularly on Viaduct. I thought you did a lot better job of moving into middle and taking the point back than Epsilon did, but seemed to be a little more brave and able to work the flanks, but just individual players then got picked off and things seemed to fall apart. But you did show some good control and play at times. So
yeah,
I'm feeling it, man. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, we lack the composure when they're pushing on us, and we aren't 100% set up. Like our transitions between these positions are really kind of dodgy at the moment. Like, unless we're 100% like perfectly set up and everyone's kind of said I'm in my position, then against a team like Epsilon, that's where we really fell short and we couldn't really keep up with the pace of Viaduct against them. Against other teams, it's fine. We can make up for our mistakes, but against Epsilon, it's like if you get a bad start in a fight, then the fight's over, GG. We weren't able to kind of get a good start to enough of the defenses.
I've got one last question. Just don't want this to go on too long, but at the end of the process, we saw a bit of a confusing situation where Epsilon were coming through from the PC into your CP2. You'd stalled them out a little bit, but then your combo, it was Uber versus Uber, but you decided to go all the way around through choke. I know there was only like 4 minutes left and 4 rounds down, but what exactly was going on there?
This is the classic thing I do when the pressure's on in a game. I make a call that I've never made before, and I kind of expect people to know what I mean, but in the heat of the moment, they just have no idea what I mean. I basically said go mid. Like, we saw they were coming PC, so I said go mid because it was 5 minutes left, and I still had that epic 5-4 comeback in my mind. So I said, like, go mid and start the cap on mid was what I meant. But then I don't really know what happened, to be honest. Like, my plan was I'd stay on choke and slow the cap down, and everyone else would go mid and start the cap. But what happened was our combo went to mid and then tried to wrap around PC. Greg went sewers, screaming for someone to come with him. It was just a mess. Just that classic call that you make in the heat of the moment. Like, you'd never make that call normally, but then under the pressure you make the call and it just collapses. It's a good idea at the time, but hindsight, it's probably not the best idea.
Yeah, it was unlucky because your scouts just died, like, so you'd lost that capping power, but I can see what you were trying to do there.
Yeah, it was a YOLO play, like, it was 5 minutes left, and I'd rather basically compete for the win the whole way through than say, okay, let's try to not lose any more rounds. Like, if there's still a chance of winning, I'd go for that every time, even if it's like a chance in hell, rather than just compromising and going for like the 4-0 or something.
Pledge, I'm done. Take it away.
Done. You don't have anything else. Well, kaidus. Now, in honesty, I really just want to thank you for coming on so quick after the game.
No, you're welcome, guys.
I assume that really wasn't the most pleasant of games and probably not the most pleasant of feelings that you have to come on here and say some words. I'm guessing that was not something you were really looking forward to, but thanks for doing it anyway. And I'm sure we'll see more of you throughout the rest of the season. Obviously, good luck in your remaining 3 games. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, man.
And obviously now towards the winning team, Epsilon eSports, still continuing their online streak. Like I said, picking this one up 5-0, 3-0 in what looks very easy. But obviously there was not an Epsilon eSports that I saw, as I'm going to go over right now to Numlogs. Numlogs, very clearly, you guys have played games where you start slowly, you start a little bit like, we need to get into this. And there are games where you shoot out of the starting positions and you just demolish teams. This was one of the latter ones, wasn't it?
I feel like it started that way, but then towards the end they started to get back into the game and started getting control of it. It kind of slowed down a bit, which we weren't too happy with, and we don't like games that are slow, which is why it stopped, the score stopped racking up so quickly towards the end.
And obviously, again, I asked Mike this question last week, and I'm going to ask you now the exact same thing. Was this a game that felt like a walk in the park to you? Or was this, no, okay, these guys are Skidmark Central, let's focus up a little bit?
A bit of a walk in the park, yeah. As with most games in Premiership at the moment, they all are, other than like the top 2 teams where we have to focus really hard on. But Skidmark Central gave us quite a bit of a fight towards the end of the process, and a bit on Viaduct as well.
Were you expecting it to them to actually put that up there on
No.
On process? Because kaidus very clearly said we were expecting to do a lot better. You were expecting them to be worse.
I wouldn't say worse, just as they were at the start of the game.
All right. Well, clearly, obviously, you guys seem to be winning. Again, I asked Mike the same thing, but I wanted to hear your input. Is there anything less than first place this season that matters?
Of course not.
Because you guys have been winning the past 3 seasons. Again, online record, winning since June 19th, 2012. Only losing to Americans at I-49. Does this feel like an I-49 season to you guys, where you guys have to bring your A game, win it, and then get your ass over to Telford and get a win
pretty much
there?
Since I-46, since the team was formed, we've all only been given our A game. During the officials, everyone brings out the best that they can. So obviously that's all we're going to be doing for I-49 as well.
Now, tactically, thinking about this a little bit, and I spoke to James a little bit during the game. We didn't get a lot of chance because obviously the high-paced game that you guys always seem to play was right there, but we've seen Nox running crit scree quite a bit recently. Is this something that, like, I've been seeing this in Division 1 at first, where we saw a lot of crit streak popping up. Has that sort of flown over to Premiership now? Where Nox has decided, you know what, let's just do it a lot, because it fits our style.
It's a bit of that, yeah. I mean, it really fits our aggressive playstyle where we're constantly constantly pushing into the enemy team. But it's also the fact of, especially on a map like Viaduct, or well, especially against us, where teams like to focus me and Nox down. If Nox goes down, it's so easy to just go to crits and be back in the game straight away.
So with that in mind, is there anything you guys are looking to still perfect? Do you guys see mistakes in your plays from today, for example, of which you're like, okay, before we can beat Broder again, before we can beat Crack Clan in a couple of weeks, we need to fix this, and if so, what?
It's very hard to think about now. Obviously there's a few communication errors here and there, where Nox might call one thing and I'll call the other, and then the push or defense or whatever won't always work out. And we're always going to be tweaking the way we hold certain areas or the way we push certain areas, because it's never going to be perfect and teams are always going to adapt to it. So you can never have a perfect way of playing TF2. It's always going to have to change in its current meta.
And obviously, with regards to your upcoming official against Crack Clan, very simple. Are you guys already preparing for it in your mind? Is that already on everyone's mind of all 6 players?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is the map this is the official that we've been looking forward to the most. I think they've progressed a lot as a team, much more so than Broder. And I think they're going to be the number 2 team this season, so they're the ones to look out for us.
Have you guys specifically been preparing for them? Have you been watching demos or something like that?
We haven't actually, but that's going to be something we're going to start doing now, because I think it's next week that we play them.
Is it going to be week 6 or week 7? Like, you guys might have Viaduct against them.
It's Viaduct against them.
It is Viaduct against them, alright. So, is there anything in particular that you're going to be looking out for? Obviously, this is the map
Snipers.
that I guess everyone has been playing the least. We saw Crackland play this yesterday against Last Man Standing. Obviously, that is different. But we saw Tavik very clearly not playing a sniper style. It is something you're probably going to have in the back of your head, though.
Yeah, definitely. Against any team that has good snipers, it's always something that's in the back of the head, because it's not something we enjoy playing against. Because, like I said earlier, when teams slow the game and get down against us, it's just not fun, and it's hard to get back into. But other than snipers, there's not really much now.
Okay, well, I'm going to be looking forward to that. James, obviously you're the man with all of the genius questions. If you have anything for me right now, please feel free.
Just wondering what exactly is going on outside of the game between Epsilon and Crack Clan, because I logged on to Steam this evening to get a message from Nox. He was complaining about how Crack Clan are just bastards now that I've left. There's like no compassion. I know there was something happened yesterday where Epsilon ended up cancelling on Crack Clan before their official, and today Crack Clan have retaliated with cancelling your warm-up game. How do you feel about that?
I think it was in complete fairness to them to do so. We cancelled their PCW against us 20 minutes late because Nox and Gear didn't show up because they were busy doing other stuff. And then today they cancelled with us our PCW prior to our official. But they actually gave us a full day's warning, which is completely really nice of them. I would have done the same, to be honest, if I were them. I think Nox is just a bit annoyed about it because it's Nox.
Yeah, I was wondering, was it going to affect your game? Was Nox going to be furious? But it seems like you guys were really confident going into this game. But I mean, are you in good terms with Crack Clan? Is this a real grudge match coming up?
No, I love most of Crack Clan. Well, no, I say most, all of Crack Clan, and I play a lot of Wasteland and stuff with Ips, so there's no bad blood there.
I mean, it's probably fair to say that whenever I was in Crack Clan, I was the guy who was always trying to be nice and keep Ips in check, keep him on a leash a little bit, but now I'm not there. Is Ips just like the devil of TF2? Is he the Antichrist?
The Antichrist, really?
He needs his leash tightened a bit, yeah.
I think Ips actually has taught me to have a bit more of a spine at times. I'm just a pushover. But I don't really have any real questions apart from that. I was interested to hear about the Kritzkrieg play says it's been happening a lot. I haven't seen all the games, but interesting to hear that. I think maybe Nox is a little bit predictable in that if he dies, I'm expecting you guys to go Kritzkrieg, but that's just the way I always play, and I'm paranoid about that stuff.
It's kind of the standard medic thing, though, where if you die and the medic's going to have advantage, you just go straight to crits. So it's nothing new in that regard, but it just fits in with our playstyle, so it's used a lot.
We've been seeing it pop up a lot more. I think that is the main thing, is that just suddenly every team has decided, you know what, any situation is a good situation for crits. And it seems, obviously, like I said, right, like if Nox runs that, your team is going to love it. Just the way that you guys seem to be super confident in your 6v6.
Yeah, it's just the way that the European TF2's progressed recently, where it's a much more aggressive playstyle. Previously, like a few seasons ago, it would never work that way because crits just doesn't work that defensively.
And obviously now, with the aggressive sort of
exactly.
meta, would you guys say that this, in general, aggressive meta is going to help you guys progress towards I-49 and possibly beat the
Almost
Americans and
definitely. I mean,
Australians?
that's kind of where the playstyle came from, the Americans. And us Europeans realised that we have to be aggressive against them. We can't just wait for things to happen. We have to make the plays.
And you guys are very clearly, at least in my opinion, you guys are the ones actually leading the pack here in Europe, where you guys have just decided, you know what, screw it, we don't need Ubers to fight, so let's just go and fight. we'll try and figure it out. You guys seem to be doing a very good job of it so far. 10-0-0 is your record. Not unexpected, most likely, but obviously.
Can we include the other season records as well on that? To add them all up?
I actually haven't. Well, there's going to be a 0-1 in there, so
that's a good point.
We probably actually don't want to do that.
Leave
but as I said,
now.
online, every single game won. Like, of course, you lost the map against Broder last season. We all know that. We've all been there. But every single game has been won since June 19, 2012. So very well played to you guys. And obviously, with regards to I-46 and I-49, we're going to be looking to see you guys in action throughout the rest of the season. And obviously in August in Telford, which is the thing you guys are preparing for the most. And I guess if there's one thing you can probably say is that the Americans should bring it, because you guys are going to be so prepared. That's
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, thanks anyway for coming on, Numlocked. I'm sure we'll hear more of you throughout the
thanks
season.
for having me.
As will be going on, obviously. The clutch plays, the playoffs, the last weeks are coming in. And James, in honesty, I cannot wait. Obviously, you are returning a little bit as well, so we might be able to see a little bit more of you coming in as well here for teamfortress.tv, which would be absolutely fantastic. I would love having you here, James. So if you have any time, please, at any moment, just hop on in.
I'm gonna cast it for Blackout Gaming TV. Fuck you guys.
Oh, he's gonna cast for everyone. He's gonna. Oh, I know what
spread
you're
myself
doing.
thin.
No, basically what you're doing is you're gonna make sure to cast for everyone and get more voters for caster of the season. I can see it. I can see it right now.
Pledge. I called you out in the pre-game. You're just a little bit obsessed with this. Maybe I'll just put myself. I'll tell the admins. Look, don't put me in the rankings.
Yeah.
Give it to Pledge.
It's okay, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching here tonight at Team Fortress TV. Tomorrow we will be back. I heard from Admirable that the game might have been wildcarded. Sorry. I actually, for some reason, said wildcast. It doesn't matter, as tomorrow there should be a cast. If there's any sort of game around Prem or Division 1, we should be there at the same time, and obviously at the same place. Twitch.tv/TeamFortressTV is exactly where you can find us. Myself and Admirable, and John tomorrow is going to be on the camera. Warden will still be on the camera. Thanks so much to everyone involved, and obviously thanks to you guys, the viewers, for being absolutely fantastic and sticking around with us every single night. We'll be back tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Have a very good Wednesday night, and we'll see you guys back tomorrow. Same time, same place at Team Fortress TV. Good night.